Spectrum on Radio 1 FM 90.
Spectrum wants to hear your views. You can SMS at any time during the show. Type Spectrum, leave a space, type in your contribution and name, then send it to 7197. Your views, our interviews on Spectrum, Radio 1 FM 90.
Hello, a very warm welcome. You tuned into Spectrum on Radio 1. I'm your host, Edmond Kizito. On Spectrum tonight, how can Uganda maximize its potential as a sporting nation, considering how it has performed at the Olympics? It has taken Uganda up to 40 years to win a gold medal at the Olympics, a development that has rekindled debate on how sports is being managed in Uganda. Stephen Kiprotich, a prisons warder, won the gold medal yesterday, beating fierce rivals from Kenya in the 42-kilometer marathon, which was the last event to cap the London 2012 Olympics. Uganda's performance before Kiprotich's victory had been seen as disastrous, and all fingers were pointing and are still pointing at government, which is being accused of paying only a lip service. Sports has ceased to be only an event, but multi-billion dollar industry, earning many countries large sums of money in incomes, and therefore requiring considerable investments. Many pundits argue that Uganda has the potential to rival many countries in different sports disciplines, but the lack of proper management, funding, and a commitment has still destroyed this potential. In some cases, promises made to athletes have not been fulfilled. Funds allocated for some events have not been seen, among other challenges. The Olympics will happen again in 4 years' time in Rio de Janeiro of Brazil, and countries that are serious began to plan as early as yesterday. Sports Minister, Uganda Sports State Minister Charles Kabuleta has indicated that at these games Uganda will be a force to reckon with. He also dismisses claims that Ugandan athletes were poorly facilitated, leading to a dismal performance in London. The challenges concerning sports in Uganda have been a center of discussion each time the national football team, the Uganda Cranes, has failed to qualify for the African and the World Cups. This same question is on the minds of many people who cannot stop to wonder why Uganda cannot do what other countries are doing to maximize its potential in sports. So that's what we'll be looking at tonight, and our guest, Mr. Ronnie Kasirye, a sports instructor with the International Athletics Association and Federations, also senior Ugandan athletics coach with the Uganda Athletics Federation. You're most welcome, Mr. Kasirye.
Thank you so much.
We also expect to be joined by Mr. Joseph Kabuleta, senior sports journalist. He's on his way to this place. Mr. Kasirye, how would you sum up Uganda's performance at the London Olympics?
Thank you so much. With me, I'm extremely happy that after 40 years, Uganda has managed to earn a gold, not even a silver or a bronze, but a gold. I would like to give the credit to Stephen Kiprotich and the Uganda Athletics Federation for mentoring Stephen Kiprotich with the help of Uganda Prison. Briefly, maybe I would like to say that Stephen has been in the field of athletics for some time, although many of the Ugandans were not aware that Stephen was among the senior athletes, or the elite athletes as we call them in the athletics language. Stephen, maybe briefly just to say, he was the last participant to go to London, and he's one of the athletes that the federation was in touch with even when he was outside the country in Kenya training. So the coach who happened to go with the team, Imsiwe Gordon, and all us other federation officials were in touch with most of the athletes, apart from a few who deliberately decided to change their phone numbers to Kenyan numbers, like Moses Kipsilo, who has a Kenyan number that was not really available to the federation. Because
let's get that clear. Moses Kipsiro did what?
He didn't avail us his contacts in where he was training from, which was really challenging. As you saw, very many statements saying that he was not really helped by the federation, as he was saying the government. And with us as the federation, Uganda Athletes Federation, we always make it very clear that if you are moving outside the country, you avail us with the contacts. And this is what we did with all the other athletes. We were in touch with them. I don't believe what was said that the federation was not in touch with the athletes when they are doing their training. I was in person calling Stephen almost every after 2 days to ask him how is the 4-wheel. That's how the joke we're always making with him. And he was always telling me, yes, coach, because he's a soft-spoken person. He was saying, oh, coach, yeah, today things went on well. Let's wait and see. After 30 kilometers, the marathon begins. And we'll tell from there. And indeed, it happened. After 30 kilometers, I assured my colleagues that, now that's the goal. And they said, no, you can't.
You're talking about Moses Kizito or Stephen Kiprotich?
Stephen Kiprotich.
Yes.
So I said, after 30, he's promised things will work out. And I think he's going to deliver, because he always promises, like he did in his first ever marathon. He was a pace setter in Netherlands, and the manager told him, hey, the people you're pace setting to are 3 kilometers behind. Do you feel strong and can you finish? He said, yes, I can still go for the remaining 12 kilometers. And Stephen went and won his first marathon. So with me, I see he's a person who had a lot of determination, and a person who would always listen to everybody who would come and say something to him. 4 years back, I happened to be in Kapchora, because I'm the person who organizes and marks the road races in Uganda. So when I was marking a route in Kapchora that was mountain running, I was selecting a team to go to the world mountain running. Stephen happened to be among the participants. And we're starting from a small place. Those in Kapchora could be knowing, as you're going to Moroton, there's a place called Moriorion. That's where they started from. That's where I marked from and coming to Kapchora. But he told me, if that is the route, then I'll qualify. And I said, okay, I wish you the best. When they reached, it was a 12-kilometer race. When they reached 7 kilometers, he still had the guts to communicate to his friends and talk. And I can compare that with how you saw it in the marathon. Those who happened to watch, you saw that he didn't sprint. Although some very many say he out-sprinted and what we call sprinting was not done in that marathon.
Sprinting is running very fast.
That is it. Sprinting is running very fast.
And
you really see
he did not do that.
He didn't sprint.
Let's try to understand this. This is a 42 kilometers race.
Yeah.
Running from here maybe to Lugazi or thereabouts. It's not a simple job. You're running for 2 hours non-stop.
Yeah.
What makes these people win? There was another Kiprotich coming from Kenya. Most likely, arguably, it's probably another Sebei. What makes these people win? Is it the food they eat or what?
Running a marathon or running long distance, we call them people with big lungs, or extremely big lungs. Because when you happen to live in Kampala and one day you happen to move to Kabale or Kapchora,
which is a highland,
which is a high altitude,
Yes.
We call that high altitude because there's places in Kapchora like where the government is planning to set up the high altitude center at around 2. I assure you, if it is your first time to get there, all around midday, you will not breathe. Because it's very hot. You will feel you are shivering and you're gambling to get.
It's very cold.
It's very cold.
Yeah. Oxygen is thin at the high altitude.
Very, very.
Here we take it for granted. So our lungs are small. You only need a little air to get enough oxygen.
That is it.
Out there you need a lungful. And so if you live there for long, your lungs expand. When you come here, it really is a ball game. It's like being used to carrying heavy weights and then you're given a piece of paper to carry.
Exactly, that is it. So when you happen to move in with that, that's why you see that the weather didn't affect Stephen Kiprotich as it affected other maybe other athletes, it didn't, because with him he was used to that kind of weather because he has been staying in Kapchora. He was born in Kapchora, he has been staying there. So that is inborn. With the white blood cells, you see that they have that. So with you who is here, if you happen to move the other side, you see that the body is trying to
create some energy. You get shiver.
You get
create some warmth.
Yeah, so to take you time to get to that. But with him, even if it's that bit of drizzle, because in Kapchora and Bukwa or those districts that are neighboring, there are Kwen and others, you find that at times it's raining 30 minutes, or it rained a whole day, and work will still go on. In Kampala it rains.
People are not bothered.
Yeah, in Kampala it rains. We all enter our homes, or you don't want to leave because it's too cold. You look for the jacket and what. They'll put on their jackets, but still do a lot of work. And since it's in the hills or say mountains and what, you find that there's a lot of movement. It's I would say that in the last 4 years back, or I happened to be in Kapchora, and the kind of bodas which are there right now, or transport means which are there, are not really the kind of transport that they used to have. So there's a lot of movement. They use the donkeys to move, to carry stuff from up to down, and you keep on chasing or hitting the donkey to come down.
The beasts of burden.
Yeah. So you see that there's a lot of movement. Yet here, even from Radio 1 to Metropole House, the UF office, I need a boda to take me there. So we try to make our bodies, we try to make ourselves weak or lazy in that way. So that's why I would say that with the long distance runners, they train hard. You have to retrain hard, do a lot of endurance, because you have to endure. You have to make sure that you train. If you're going to run 42 kilometers, then you need to be running more than 42 kilometers.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So to qualify for the 40, you really need to do 40 or 50 or 60.
So you have to run 30 in the morning, what we would call a long run. So maybe run an hour in the morning, then in the afternoon or mid-morning, they will go for what we call fat leg. Fat leg, it means running where it is really flat. So in the evening, what we call the evening session, you now do something small. That you do now, some maybe a 10K now. That is 30 minutes run. So if I'm to design a program for a long distance runner, then I have to make sure that person makes that in a day I've tried to bring in all the 42 kilometers, but not direct that. This is all the bulk, that's it. You did fat in the morning, you did fat leg of an hour, you did 30 minutes in the afternoon. So when you combine, you find that the person is running more than 2 hours in a day. So when you combine that for a week, you will find that that person has really accumulated enough of endurance that can make that person endure 42 kilometers.
And by the time you release him to run 42 in the Olympics, how many kilometers would he have run in a go?
Maybe to need to sit down and just do the calculation down. But
well, I mean, if you're going to test him, you want him to do one. So if you're ready for the Olympics, how many kilometers would he run in one day, one go actually?
If I'm to test someone to run a marathon in Olympics, what I'll do, I'll look at your 33 kilometer run. So if I set up a route and I'm going to look at 33 kilometers, what will it take you? If it's going to take you 2 hours to run 32 kilometers, then you're not fit to qualify for an Olympic race or a marathon race. You have to make sure that at least you have 1 hour 40. You are done with that. The worst should be 1 hour 40 minutes. Then you are done. If you try to go back and look at his 33 kilometers, they had not yet reached 2 hours. They're in 1 hour 43.
Remarkable.
Yeah.
I mean,
so when you look at 143, then you look at the remaining distance, because a marathon, to start running a marathon, you must complete 30 kilometers. Then now, that's why you see that the gap, which was 150 meters, the Kenyan world record holder could not close that gap, because already the way you feel is the way John, Peter and everybody feels. But that extra step is like 1,000,000 kilometers away for someone to close up that gap. So that's why you see that Stephen was wise. That in fact, when I happened to be on my phone with the coach who is in London, and I happened to say that, can you make sure and deploy Ugandans? Everybody should get involved in giving water, at least somewhere. That will
psychologically.
Yeah. When you see someone who is going to remind him, it will help us. Grace Vilunji was on a water point. Faustino Kyo was on
So
water points.
basically scattered them,
yeah,
Ugandans.
everybody was scattered. So that was a reminder.
Okay.
So you see that the moment the Kenyans moved in front, you see that for them they thought that, okay, now we are two, forgetting that he was behind them. Now he was watching.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes you think of the hare and the tortoise race, which the tortoise won in there. Of course, I've tried long distance running and failed dismally. We used to try to run 16 kilometers between Namirango and Lugogo, as we did boxing in the 80s, and we used to dodge most of the time. Joseph Kabuleta has just joined us, senior sports journalist at the New Vision. You're most welcome.
No longer at the New Vision.
Sorry, senior sports journalist. You're most welcome, Joseph.
Thank you.
Joseph, will the lone gold we got overlap the other failures? We came number 8 in Africa, number 68 overall.
That's a good performance. Well, considering positions and everything. Of course, if you look at what could have been, maybe we'll have to look at that a bit after we are through with all this celebration and everything. And most importantly, what should be for future events, because I think we spend a lot of time looking back rather than looking forward. So the failures have been there, but they've also been successes, because Kizito, who failed in the 10,000 meters and eventually the 5,000 meters, sat down and spoke with this gentleman, and everybody was advising him on how to run the marathon, and all that thing of breaking away from the Kenyans, and first of all let them be in a comfort zone, and then ultimately when they were not thinking about it. Now I think that's where the key thing is because you've been planning for this breakaway and they don't know. In their minds you're together, so they're thinking of breaking away much later. Now you just surprise them by breaking away, and your mind has been ready for that, and somehow that energy translates into your legs because you've been thinking about it. Now they haven't. They need time to adjust to what you're doing, and that gives you a comparative advantage. So by the time they even think about how to react to it, it's too late, as you say, because it's not that easy to increase that speed at that time. So
it's a test of nerves to a certain extent, strength and nerves,
strength and nerves, but tactics
as well.
Because we've seen races which we could have won, but which we didn't know what to do tactically. Okay, now this was proper tactics, and the whole team, by the way, from what I've been hearing, a lot of the team sat down and they saw it just as we did, as our final hope. Maybe we didn't think about it as our final hope because we thought Kizito had been the final hope on Saturday. So I'm sure so many people didn't even watch the marathon because they weren't expecting anything much from it. But the team apparently saw it as a hope, because he's been doing well. He's run at the Tokyo Marathon, finished in the top 3. So he's been there and thereabout, probably somebody who was good enough for the top 10. So they sat down with him and decided how the top 10 can be the top. And so in a way, it's a good thing.
He broke away up 7 kilometers to the finish.
About 6 or 7 kilometers to the finish. And for me, that was a master stroke. Because they were just powerless. Because he's running against people who have faster times than he. He's running against a record holder. His personal best going into the marathon was 2 hours and 7 minutes.
7 minutes, yes.
He's running with somebody who has run 2 hours and 3 minutes. Now, 4 minutes in racing is a lifetime. I mean, it's very big. And you see, so you're recovering making up a gap of 4 minutes is something you do over 20 or 30 kilometers, bit by bit. You cannot do it, in a few kilometers if somebody else, So my point is, these are faster runners. He needs the tactics to beat them at the most important moment. Now that's where the rest of the team come in, helping him. This is how you're going to do. This is how you should handle it. So by the time he gets to the point of the breakaway, he's been waiting for it, mentally prepared for it, and his opponents are caught unawares.
And what's, in your view, you're a sports analyst as well, what would be Uganda's optimal performance if everything was working like clockwork?
The preparations have been shambolic, and there's no running away from that, and it's largely been because of wrangles at the Uganda Olympic Committee. We just had a change of leadership a couple of months before the games, and the change was anything but smooth, because it came after a protracted struggle between two factions that lasted the best part of 6 months or so. So now that's the time we were supposed to really be acclimatizing. First of all, there was a training camp in Bristol, which was meant to make people get used to the British weather and everything, and also, train a bit and all, which was supposed to be an advantage. I think we missed out on a bit of that. The boxers were supposed to go there. We didn't even have a participation in boxing, and that is a discipline that has won for us medals previously. So there is no running away from the fact that we didn't have it.
We were
ill prepared. Now we can change that. Now that's a good thing. We can actually change that, because maybe now we know that we are not that bad, because it got to a point where we didn't think that we're ever going to see an Olympic gold medal. It's been 40 years.
40 years.
And
many people were not yet born. At that time.
So I mean, you get to a position where you start thinking maybe gold is out of reach. And frankly, that's where I was, because when I see 3 people breaking away, one of them a Ugandan, I'm thinking, well, at the very worst, a bronze. And frankly, deep inside me, I'm thinking it's going to be a bronze. He can't beat the Kenyans. So and now that's as a result of continued failure, that you actually settle for small things. Now maybe
you condition your mind to cushion the failure, so it doesn't hurt that bad.
Precisely. So you say, I mean, at least bronze, and you're thinking that's the very worst. So I mean, that we are not going to be disappointed if it turns out bronze. But then you have somebody who is not thinking like a Ugandan. for once, who is thinking about the goal.
God, we have someone who thinks like that.
Yeah, and I mean, and so he decides he wants, to go for gold, and this has been the problem. And the thing is, I saw a bit of that character in some of his performances before. It's not been about his lack of ambition, the fact that maybe he's not been winning. It's about ability. Now I saw a bit of that in Kizito as well, because right from way back, I watched him so many years ago at the Africa Athletics Championships, running against Kenyans who were better than him, but he beat them because he was more determined than they. Same thing at the Commonwealth Games. It's just that I don't think he's been fit for this race. I don't even think Kizito. I don't even think he went in the right frame of mind, because he's been giving interviews which were loaded with bitterness, and that's hardly a state of mindset to go into such a big games.
Right.
And he missed the World Athletics Championship, which for me was a big disappointment, because that was supposed to be at the peak of his powers, and the biggest threats from Kenya and Ethiopia, particularly Kenesa Bekele, were out of it. Now when he missed, another sensation in the form of Mo Farah was created. If Kizito had been there, which I think he should have, of course there was talk of typhoid and everything, but it was a lot deeper than that, then maybe he could have actually gone and assumed the throne, because it was an empty throne. Kenenisa Bekele was the man. He had been injured.
That's the Ethiopian.
Yeah, the Ethiopian. He had been injured, and there was a vacant throne, and that Somali-born Briton came and took it up, and now it's going to be very difficult to unseat him.
We will do it.
Sorry,
getting the throne away.
Yeah. When somebody has sat in there and felt,
they will do everything to defend.
Yeah, usually they do everything to defend it.
Yeah. All right, Ronnie, talk to us about what you think can be done between now and Rio de Janeiro.
Maybe one thing that Joseph has just said. In 2009, I was in England with the team for the World Half Marathon. I led the Ugandan team, and after the technical meeting, these guys did not just wake up in the morning and think of winning these 2 gold medals in long distance. What I remember, I happened to stay behind with some of my colleagues, coaches. These guys started their work plan, the British. And this is when they say that, if it means going to Africa, to East Africa, and sleep there and train there, we'll do it. But I think it has been due for us to win a medal in long distance. That was 2009. When I came back here,
that's the British saying.
The British saying.
That's about time they won a gold medal.
It was in Birmingham. So when when I was coming back, I thought of a lot of things. I said, what? These guys are saying they're planning to beat us? I don't think that will happen. But my colleagues told me, long distance is funny. Unless those guys come and train here,
they won't make it.
They won't be.
And of course, there's something about that place. We have Kizito, we have Kiprotich, we have all the Kips. The Kips.
And on both sides. Yeah. And we have another guys who can easily make it. Even in Kabuleta, guys who can make it. Right. But as Joseph has really said that we need to plan now for Brazil. You don't think it's too far away?
It's not. Mind will tell you 4 years are long.
No. 2 weeks back I was in Kapchora.
Yes.
Selecting a team for the World Mountain Running.
Okay, I have to go for a break. We'll be back. Let's
You can pay, you can buy, pay your bills, pay school fees, send cash overseas, pay taxi fees, and salaries, anything you need.
You can do anything with MTN mobile money. And now, for the first time in Uganda, you can even pay your electricity bills. Go to your MTN mobile money menu, select pay bills, select Umeme Touch Pay, and follow the prompts.
MTN. Everywhere you go.
John, Mike and I, we go back a bit. We knew John at the beginning, working for someone else. But he was different. He had vision, saw opportunities. He started working towards his goal, opened his own garage, and worked, learning the hard way. His reputation spread. Trust, consistency, quality. Soon people were coming to him from all parts. He made himself and his whole street prosper, and also helped friends, seeing potential in people and helping them on. But John never shouts about all his success. He's just who he is. Special.
So here's to men like John, who make a difference, who enjoy Nile Special, the rich, satisfying taste from the source. Nile Special.
You've earned it.
Not for sale to persons under 18.
And it has been our culture that whenever members participate and bring us glory, we sit as government and do appreciate. When Zikuru brought us a medal from the Commonwealth, we promised a house and we built it for her. Kizito, when he brought us the gold medals, we promised a house, a car. This financial year we are handling. Similarly, we are going to sit down. First of all, we'll come to teach and see what is viable for him as a sign of appreciating that he has brought us a gold medal after almost 40 years. The preparations and the confusion that transpired during the UOC period could also have affected some. But I want to remind the Ugandans, whenever you go for a game, there is winning and losing. This is Olympic. The intensity and the people you are facing is like kid being brought from my school in Lakai to come and compete in Anese with the Budorian and Gayaza. So people sitting here and just criticizing about the training and financing, they are not making the proper analysis. Our people should learn how to appreciate. But what is taking place here, always looking for the negative part of it instead of motivating your people. The good thing, you are speaking to the minister in charge of sports. You are not now relying to rumors. It is not true, as you have been reporting, that the players were given little allowance. Those were not allowances. That was an upkeep. Out of pocket is different from allowances. Officials are entitled to allowances according to their grades. The players were given just upkeep because the rest that was contributed to the IOC for organization, they go direct to the villages. They are well fed. They are well accommodated. I toured the whole place where they eat from and I ate with them. I went to the place where they were residing. Beds were nice. They were getting medical facilities which you cannot even get here. For those who had problems with their teeth, they were taken to the dentist. Those who had problems with their eyes, we are getting even glasses free of charge. Now tell me what we are complaining about that they were not given. So what we did with the vice president when we were there, we say, okay, if the standard order is saying to top up means $72, I think we need to go back and revisit and see in which category should we put these sportsmen and women who are representing the country. Take an example of a minister. The minister, when he's going out of the country, and where he's going, they are going to facilitate for him. Do you know how much he gets for a member of parliament? $90. But when you are not facilitated and you're going to look for your hotel and feeding, you get $500+. So this is what people were not understanding. Because what our colleagues are doing and what we have learned, by the way, is that for them, when they invest in sports, they start at an early stage. Some of these athletes you are admiring, they have been in academies. If it is swimming, you go for the school of swimming, you attend your primary in that school, you attend your secondary in that school, you sleep there, you feed according to the diet of that game, of which we also like. But the capacity of funding that is yet to come. Well, 2016, having done this, we have seen some mistakes. We have seen what we need to do in advance before the D-Day comes, and we are trying to organize a symposium for all sports lovers so that we can hear from them positive contributions. We are not interested in negative positive contributions. Then from there, then we calculate that in the remaining 4 years, if we are to achieve a gold medal, a silver, even by the way to maintain the one we have achieved, we need to plan ahead. When I looked at the gold medals, most of the countries we are collecting, these are the things that we would have done. Take an example: javelin, shot put, high jump, long jump. These are the games we are doing and excelling here. We have got people who can paddle boats. Let us identify the younger stars and train them. We shall get a medal. So we are not going to limit ourselves in athletics alone.
Honorable Charles Bakabulindi, Sports Minister, speaking earlier. Well, this is Spectrum on Radio 1 tonight. How can Uganda maximize its potential as a sporting nation, considering how it has performed at the Olympics? Our guests tonight, Mr. Ronnie Kasirye, sports instructor with the International Athletics Association and Associations and Federations, also senior Ugandan athletics coach with the Uganda Athletics Federation. He's also he's here with Mr. Joseph Kabuleta, senior sports journalist. You will be able to call in and contribute to this discussion. Joseph, you had the sports minister talking there. Did the government do what it was supposed to do?
Oh, that has been a sticking point all along. His government supporting sport as much as it should and everything. And the reality is that government has priorities that somehow supersede sports, and maybe that kind of is to be expected and everything. But what Bakabulindi should do, apart from, he talks good. We have javelin throwers, we have people who can do high jump, long jump, and everything. But it's going to end there, and it is. It sounds good for the moment and everything. But ask him 1 week from now, what are you doing to identify javelin throwers?
Something else.
And there is nothing. I can guarantee you there will be nothing. There will be nothing. And this is the problem. We are going to organize a symposium, and when we failed to qualify for the Nations Cup, when we needed a victory here against Kenya, a team that we had beaten 6 consecutive times when it did not matter that much. What do they do? They organize a symposium, so that we indulge in our national pastime, talking and making speeches and making arguments and doing nothing about it. What we need now, more than good arguments and everything, is for somebody to actually start moving. Now, Britain have been, they probably have been responsible for either creating, inventing, or internationalizing most sports disciplines. Okay, but they have been beaten consistently at almost every one of them until recently, when the former Prime Minister John Major, now we're talking so many years ago, decided that the money that they get from lotteries, from the national lottery, which is a lot of money because so many people buy tickets and everything, yes, and the winner can only get so much, and a lot of that money is plowed back into public, has always been plowed back into public. The organizers,
the British lottery is run by the UK government.
Yeah, it is. Now all the money from the lottery, apart from the money that goes to the winner, John Major decided that it should go into sport, building capacity for sport.
But here we have sports betting, which is private run.
Yeah, we have sports betting, which is private run, but maybe which is such a big industry from which you can get money for sport, and you don't have to take a lot that is going to injure them. You just need a very minute percentage of the money that is bet using the sports. I'm not talking about taxing them because they actually tax, but I'm not. If URA takes its bit, yes, you just say that we need a very small percentage from all the bets that are placed, okay, or from all the bets that are won.
Yes,
you are less than 1%, maybe 0.5%, and that money goes to sport, and you work. I'm just giving an example.
Right.
If you did that, you could manage to fund sports without touching, the national budget.
Right.
It's very easy for somebody to stand up there and say we don't have the capacity. Would love to do all these things, but we don't have the capacity. But capacity is built. Okay, it is so easy for somebody to stand there and say I can't do anything, I don't have a job and everything. But people who move out can make life different for themselves. So we can build capacity. There is money that exchanges hands here every day. How can we turn just a small bit, enough to create a big sum collectively,
okay,
but very little individually to hurt anybody, so that nobody is hurt.
Right.
But somehow a lot of money is collected and it can be diverted towards sports. We don't need a lot of money to turn this country into a sporting powerhouse. I agree with Bakabulindi in as much as I was seeing a Kenyan javelin thrower, and that is a bit of a rarity because for some reason we gang ourselves up. Sprinters are from West Africa, which, okay, by the way, maybe is genetic because the printing gene, apparently, was traced back to West Africa.
Right.
Even the ones in America and in Jamaica, and all those are traced back to
West Africa.
Apparently, they have a gene that makes them run faster, and which, by the way, is amazing. There's not been a single white person in Caucasian, forget about winning, in the final 8 of 100 meters race in the Olympics since 1980. Every one of the 8 for all the previous Olympics in the last 32 years has been a black person. So anyway, maybe that's, but you know, okay, I just made that point as an abstract, but the reality is that we can participate in all these sports. The rowing of boats, how much do those boats cost? We had a guy there from Gambia, I think Equatorial Guinea, who was rowing in his first such boat at the Olympics. He had been previously rowing in a canoe.
Difficult one.
In a canoe, and he didn't know, I mean, okay, he was coming last and everything and being cheered and all, but if a country, I mean, those boats don't cost too much. In England, the facilities they are using belong to Eton University, where they have serious rowing competitions and everything, and we don't, I mean, if a university can have facilities like that, I mean, why can't a nation? If you're a university, okay, even if it's different. By the way, it's a question of prioritizing. And standing there and saying we don't have the capacity is an escapist way of going about it.
Ronnie, is sports worth investing in?
Yeah, it's worth it. In fact, maybe from
some people think it's for the rich countries. The US is the biggest economy in the world, had the biggest number of medals. Number 2, China had the second largest number of medals.
No, it's, I agree with what Joseph is saying.
Africa had only 8 countries getting medals.
Yeah, I agree with what Joseph has just been saying. That indeed, after a week could be maybe short, maybe after 2 months, after 60 days.
They'll be talking about other things.
We'll be talking about other things. Yeah, because what I'm trying to look at, the president promised us and FUFA that the government will be contributing 350 plus million for these 2 federations for the start.
Yes.
But in my federation, I've never. I think they.
No, but you know the problem. We have new districts and we have to
If you want the money to come from the government consolidated fund, it is not going to come from there. Because I told you there are so many other things. You can come up with more creative ways of getting money without touching government money. Let them use it for districts and okay, whatever they use it for, health and whatever, education. Just find a creative way of getting money without touching the existing money. Yeah, because every time we talk about money, everybody gets up, you know.
Because when we start looking at getting money from the government, we're not going to develop sports in Uganda. So, like a very good example that he gave with the sports betting, let's just reduce on the percentage, maybe going to URA, and just get that small bit and give it to this federation. Because you look at the Ugandans, everybody has now Kipsilo, you didn't bring the medal, we have lost the medal. Who is this Kiproti? It's the saying everywhere. This tick, 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 this tick, 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 tick. These boys have been there running. Put an event in Nambole or anywhere.
Yes.
You will not see guys coming down to watch athletics. Even in football, you see people just making large radio studios. Journalists are going to talk and call people in order, because football is a crowd game.
Yes.
So people will come on. But maybe now.
Athletics attract large crowds.
But not here. Not even in, maybe in Kenya. If you will see it in Kenya. I've tried to move in African countries.
Maybe it's not promoted enough. Is that something you would agree with?
Let me tell you, I do not believe that you should blame people. Your point is picked, but you see, we have to build the culture. Okay, we have to build the culture. You cannot. The athletics culture here, as a spectator sport, has not been built. Okay, you can build it. And eventually have people go there and watch. I mean, there are people who are going and watching sports which previously were not watched.
Yes.
Because the people in charge built a culture. But now the people in athletics need, first of all, better funding than they get and everything. Now that's a creative thing. But answering the question you asked earlier on, is it worth investing in sport or is it for rich countries? Now I'll tell you this, it's just like a starting company saying, is it worth investing in advertising or is it only for rich companies? I mean, the only way you're going to, because
By carrying it out or moving in.
and the marathon was the best event for us to win as an upstart nation, because we were also helped by the fact that some guy from Botswana or somewhere finished 35 minutes after everybody else. So the closings, the medal ceremony, award ceremony could not be done immediately. So they had to push it on until just before the closing ceremony. Now that means an audience of about 2 billion people, which you are not going to get on CNN, on any other network.
Millions of dollars.
You're not going to get that sort of audience anywhere in any event. So it kind of played on 3 stanzas. I don't know why they were playing 3 stanzas of the national anthem, but somehow they did. They're supposed to play 1. And,
2 recently after the Kakoma died. They're supposed to play 2.
They're supposed to play 2. Okay. But they played 3.
It's only when the head of state has passed, gone to heaven.
Okay.
According to the law. They only play the 3rd one when the head of state has
passed.
Yes.
Let's stop with the past.
All right. Let's hear from you, listeners. This is Spectrum on Radio 1 tonight. How can Uganda maximize its potential as a sporting nation, considering how it has performed at the Olympics? You can call in now. Our number is 0414-348-111, 0312-260-390, 0312-261-390. Spectrum, hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir, your name?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening to you. Your name?
I have 3 points to make. Women cannot run away.
That sounds like the mind of a strategist. Spectrum, hello? Yes, Joseph. Okay, yes, hello?
Hello?
Yes, sir, your name?
Good evening.
Good evening, your name?
I'm Angelo Meza.
Angela? Yes, go on, Angela.
The question.
Oh, we lost you. And you can still call back in. Our number is 0414-348-111, 0312-260-390. Spectrum, hello?
Hello?
Yes, sir, your name?
My name is Ronald.
Ronald? Spectrum, hello. Yes, sir, your name? Yes, AM in. Spectrum, hello? Yes, sir, your name?
Hello?
Yes, your name?
David Kaiser calling.
Yes, David.
I'm just appreciative of what you are talking about.
Yes. David Kaiser, journalist from the East African before. Spectrum, hello?
Hello?
Yes, sir, your name?
Yeah, my name is Brian. I'm calling from Kenya.
Brian in Kenya. Let's get back to okay, I'm fine. You call us Spectrum. Hello.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, sir. Your name?
My name is Stephen.
Okay, Stephen, thank you very much for calling in from Entebbe. Ronnie, you can respond as they can.
Yeah, maybe to start with the last caller about the administration in federations. I think I will not speak on behalf of our federation, but I will speak on behalf of my federation, which is Uganda Athletes Federation. I think with our federation, we are not, I think for the last 10 years, we don't have wrangles. We have had smooth elections, and it's because of this kind of administration that we have been in position. People should not only look at the Olympic medal.
Yes.
Stephen has not only run one race, the London 2012, like people could be saying. Many were asking, when you look at 2007, Stephen ran 3,000 meters. He has a personal best of 7 minutes 48.
Yes.
When you look at 2008, he ran 5,000 meters. It is not the government which has been coming in. It's the federation which has been helping him.
Well, this man has been working for the government.
Yeah, he has been working for the government. Fine. I'm very aware that Stephen is employed by Uganda Prison. He was recruited by Coach Nalis Bijingo.
Until now, we're not sure if he's going back.
No, he's going back. He's going back. He's going back because I happened to have a discussion with the Commission of Prison today. And in fact,
they want him back.
He doesn't have words. He says whatever he's going to do, he knows it better.
Well, you want to be a prisoner. Let's hear from Joseph.
No,
we leave that to him, obviously.
No, I leave that to him, but I don't agree with someone saying that administration in federations, because I think the Athletes Federation is one of the federations. We are given room in Lugogo. An office in Lugogo.
Yes.
We decided to have our own office in the Metropole House, and everybody is most welcome. But how many Ugandans are aware that we have a Metropole House there?
That's what we have 4 million shillings per rent there.
Then how many federations can do that?
It is up to the federations to popularize their sports. Do not expect Ugandans to come rushing to you just because you have a federation office. Okay, now I'm not blaming the federation because they have done a very good job, and they are not even facilitated to do as good a job. So, but the point is that if you are in charge of chess, of rugby, or everything, it really is up to you to go and make people get interested in your sport. Okay, because whatever the government does, it's not going to tell me what to be interested in. What is somebody organizing something. But that said, I also do not agree with people who are trying to take this as an opportunity to be negative, bash, government and everything. This is a good time for everybody to celebrate. And the politicians, regardless of whatever we perceive their failures in terms of, funding sport is concerned, they are as much of Ugandans as we are.
And they're free to treat.
And they have the right to be happy about this thing. Now, if the president comes to Nambole before a game and gives food and gives money to the national team, that is a good thing. How can anybody see anything negative in that? Because the president is not in charge of running football in Uganda. There is a president who is in charge. And if the president comes just before a big game, that's as much as we expect from him. He's not going to stop doing what he's doing to come and... So my point is that let everybody do what they're supposed to do. Now, in terms of how we can go forward from all of this, the reality is that right now we have an opportunity. If there is a politician who didn't think how important sport is before and he thinks that now, he's welcome. I mean, we need as many converts as possible. We're not chasing anybody away. I mean, not everybody is going to be as interested in sport as I am, or as the gentleman who is in charge of chess and everything, or as the coach here. But if I get a big politician who suddenly is interested, I mean, come in, you're welcome. We need as many converts as possible. Now this is the time to get followers, not to chase people away. That you've not done anything.
Some people think you've been fighting Mulindwa too hard.
No, let's talk about
He's an old boy of mine. We were in school.
I was in Amiliango too. I mean, he's an old boy of mine too. But okay, I'm not. But let's talk about something positive.
Maybe
winning a gold medal. And let's talk about athletes.
Yeah, our time is up. Let's talk about something very briefly. Should URA tax keep Cyril's money?
No, they shouldn't. Because the reality is now we are supposed to keep what you mean. I don't think they should, because what you're doing is.
But they did that on Davis Kamuga.
Okay, but most of these countries actually, before the United States, they have a set amount of money that they give to gold medals, silver and bronze. Way before, everybody knows it. You go to the Olympics knowing it. It's because everybody knows
what comes later.
And of course they can tax because they give. But if they taxed now without any reward for what he's done, and they just wait for a reward which is coming.
They gave him a job.
I mean, for a reward which is coming from IWF without any input, it would not be fair. I think they should be looking at what we can give to him rather than what we can take away from him.
Ronnie, they've not given him a house and a car as the president has promised. Does that sit down well? You keep Cyril. He was promised a car and house by the president. Is that normal for it to delay to this point?
Yeah, well, to me, I would think like Moses has been demanding for that. I've heard a lot from people saying that he has to make a follow-up. That Moses Kipsilo has to make a follow-up. But I think having got this medal, to me, I would just ask the government to calm down and let's work together like Ugandans. Let's stop pointing fingers and what?
Thank you very much, dear guest, Mr. Ronnie Kasirye, sports instructor with the International Athletics Association and Federations, Mr. Joseph Kabuleta, senior sports journalist. Thank you for tuning in. I've been your host, Edmond. So, well, having sports on Spectrum during a weekday, 40 years after a gold, another gold comes in. That's usually a normal, very unusual occasion. Thank you for tuning in. Spectrum will be back tomorrow.